What is up YouTube? I'm Galladite74 here, bringing you a different type of video for you guys today. I finally got this green screen to work. It's not perfect, but I'm going to be working with it for the next few weeks, so hopefully it will improve on each video. But I got it close enough to the point where I can make the video now. This is going to be the beginning of my top 10 series. It is a week late, but I hope you guys will enjoy this as I break down my draft career through the next few weeks with my top 10 series. We are going to start off with the top 10 my favorite draft teams I've had. I've been in 10 leagues in Gen 7, not including tournaments, so that is what we're going to be going over in today's video. I really hope you guys enjoy this new type of content I'm going to be bringing you guys until Gen 7 is over and Gen 8 starts, so hope you guys are looking forward to that. But I am a little bit sick still. I've been bulk recording this with my battle with Lou, so I apologize if I sound a little nauseous. I cannot talk, but that is going to be it for the introduction, and we're going to get into this top 10 list. Alright, so I've been doing film for a while now, and I have never really been in front of the camera, so I don't know where to look, so I apologize if my eyes just kind of wander, so that's how it usually is. I usually close my eyes when I talk, that's why I don't usually use a face cam. But anyway, number 10, we are going to dive into the list. We have our PEBA Season 1 elite team. This team will be on screen up to my left, I think, or to my right on the screen. I don't know, it'll be there somewhere. But I'm going to briefly talk about this. I didn't get to use this team enough for me to really enjoy it because the league kind of died. I only played like 3 games with it and I lost them, so that kind of sucks. This team was a very turn type of team. We had a lot of momentum with Victini, Tornadus, and Mega Beedrill, but they're all weak to rocks, so that was kind of a big hindrance right there for the team. And while I do have good defoggers with like Ivan Poyan as defog and Donphan as rapid spin, they kill the kind of momentum which this whole team is kind of based around. And again, it could give my opponent some time to work with my defense to try and set up on them or blah, blah, blah. And I don't have reliable recovery on my defense. Not that it's the biggest deal, except for Florges, of course. But again, I like to have like a mixed type of like defense and offense. And this team is just offense. And if it's really weak to rocks, it kind of sucks. But again, didn't get to use it enough to really judge it. So that's why it's number 10 on this list. For number 9 on this list, we have my IBA Season 5 league. I already can't talk. We went 8-4 in this league. I started uploading this to YouTube, but I had to cancel it because no one in the league was really recording, and I can't record my own Wi-Fi battles, so I just kind of gave up on it. I went 0-2 to begin with, but we did start up and win and go up to 8-4, so that's pretty cool. The thing I don't really like about this team is that I don't really think the mods really worked well together. I had like Heatran, and I hate Heatran, and even after using it, I still hate it. I didn't really enjoy using it that much. Right after I picked up this team, I knew I wasn't really going to like it that much, just based on what I picked up. There wasn't really mods that I really enjoyed using. There's a few I did like using. Gligar and Alomomola, my defensive core, that's just too passive. Even Shaman I had for a bit was a little passive when I brought it defensively. It wasn't great. The offense was just okay. Mega Gardevoir was a little underwhelming. It was cool, but it was just not what I expected it to be. The one saving grace for this team was Komodo. Komodo showed up to every game. Komodo put in work every single game, as well as Snorlax. Snorlax was very consistent with the games it came. And Crobat gets to mention because Crobat was, it was okay. It did what it needed to do. I didn't bring Nasty Bat, so I'm ashamed of myself for that one. But we didn't make finals because my opponent Kohanix brought a belly drum Darmanitan, and I wasn't ready for it. So big props to Kohanix for that. But this team was just, it was okay. Electivire is always cool. Shedinja was nice. I brought it to like 1 game sort of, and I didn't really do anything. But yeah, that's kind of my IBA Season 5 team. Wasn't a big fan of it, never was, and it never grew on me. Okay, so next up on this list is probably going to be the biggest surprise. Number 8 on this list is my ABC Season 3 team. Now, you're thinking, okay, if you watch my channel, this is the closest I ever got to a championship. Why is this only number 8 on my list? Well, I went 5-4 with this team, though I got 2 forfeit wins, so technically I went 3-4, but we're not going to talk about that. I had a really rough time with this team, basically, because nothing really stood out for me, even though you would think I have a Charizard X and a Tapu Lele core, that's like good enough. But I like Charizard Y a little bit more, I like using it a little bit more. I like the way it is. I used Tapu Lele wrong the entire season. It took me up till playoffs to use it even correctly. And I felt like with my defense, this was the big problem for this team. Even though I had a bunch of different defense pieces like Mudsdale, Delmise, Audino, Cryogonal to an extent, Spiritomb, Carbink, I feel like I was always missing something in a build. There's always something missing, and I didn't really like that with that many mons I have on the team. It wasn't that good. And even with the offense, I had like 4 Moveslot Syndrome, except for 4 Pokemon Syndrome. I like to bring 3 offensive mons, and I have like 4 really good ones in Charizard, Tapu Lele, Cobalion, and Swellow, and Rotom Wash to an extent. And it was just really hard to fit what I wanted to fit on the team. I felt it was just kind of annoying to deal with. And that's why it was a little bit, again, with this team, even though I made it really far and had a decent amount of success with the team, at least in the playoffs. But maybe I could have used it more. Maybe it would be a little bit higher up. But until then, number 8 sits ABC Season 3. Coming in at number 7th, we have our PEBA Season 2 team. My PEBA Season 2 team. I'm going to be real with you guys. This team's bad. This team is very bad. Just look at it. And the synergy in this team just does not exist whatsoever. This was my first team into Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I think Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were just coming out when I drafted this team. And this team is just bad. It's simple as that. I don't know what else to say. I used a lot of these mons very wrong. I used Suicune in the wrong way. I used Thunderous in the wrong way. I used Doublade in the wrong way. I used everything wrong, basically. And the thing I like about this team, though, that put it above everything else on this list so far, is that this season was easily the most learning I ever did in Pokemon. I learned so much with this team throughout the season, and I did enjoy using this team. Even though I used it wrong, I had a lot of fun using this team. The season itself doesn't, I'm not really including like how the season was as opposed to the team, but this season was so much fun, and I had so much fun in this league, and I learned a lot in the league, basically. That's why I'm putting this team higher up. Mega Venusaur is still a really cool mod. I love using that thing. I actually used it in TTM again because I used it in PvPA. I felt like if I got a lot of these mods back again also, that I could do a lot better with them. Like, I didn't do great with Thunderous this time around in this season. I didn't do really good with Kartana, and I didn't really do good with, like, I don't know, Gardevoir and Crocodile and Suicune and all of them. But I felt like if I had another go with it, I would do much better, basically. Also, I want to shout out that Palisand and Pyro are awesome lower tiers to draft. I highly recommend anyone watching this to draft them at one point because Palisand's a lot of fun. Pyro is pretty underrated for a fire type. Obviously, in comparison, it's not great, but it's still a decent, like, low tier fire type. So I recommend that to anyone who planned on drafting that. But that is it for number 7, my PEBA Season 2 team. All right, number 6 on this list, we have the APM Lower Tiers League for number 6. I put it this low on the list because I'm not actually done using it. I just uploaded a video on Sunday for week 9. By the way, go check that out if you haven't, #plug. But I'm still using it, and I do like it. I do like the options this team gives me, but I feel like I'm just using it in the same way over and over again. And that's on me. That's not on the team itself, but it's because I'm doing that. It's not really giving me a shiner light on the team. To keep it positive, though, this team is pretty freaking good. Like, for a lower tier league, look at all those mons I have on the side, up there or whatever. I don't know where they are exactly, but it is a really good team. Roserade, Galvantula, Blaziken, Sneasel, Rhydon, it all hits hard. My opponent has a very hard time switching into my team most weeks, and I know that, so I utilize that to my advantage. Roserade is awesome. I went into the season expecting Roserade to be really cool, and it has not disappointed me whatsoever. Another thing I do want to mention is that I've heard a lot of times by drafting Sneasel, you really get underwhelmed in prep. And while that is true at some points, Sneasel actually has put in work each time I have brought it. So using it to its best ability, I feel like I've been doing so far. I did put the Z Crystal on the Sneasel, even though I haven't really brought the Sneasel too much. I feel like it gives me a lot more better options in prep. And lastly, I have learned a lot about lower tiers because of this league. But again, I still have 2 more weeks left as of the recording of this video, and I still have playoffs. So hopefully, we can snag a championship before Gen 7 ends because, we're 0-3 in championships. But that is going to be our number 6 choice, and we're going to move on to number 5. Okay, so moving on to number 5, we have my PEBA Season 3 team. This is probably the weirdest team for being up here, and for being number 5, it actually does have quite a number of negatives to it. I'm going to start with the positives. First, Hippowdon Star Season. Hippowdon went like 14-5 in this league. It was quite insane. Hippowdon put in the absolute work. I love that mod, and it definitely provided this season. I have a Beautiful on the team, which is really nice. My defensive core, out of all things, usually the star is like the offensive core, but the defensive core on the team was really good for being a nice balanced team. Tentacruel really showed up to its games. Tangrowth, when I had it, showed up. Hippowdon, obviously. And I picked up Reuniclus near the end of the season for Tangrowth, and Reuniclus is, I love that thing. And it can do so many different things, and it provided really well. So the defense on this team was actually really, really solid. The thing I was a little about this team was the offense I want to get to. Volcarona, I feel like I didn't really try and build the team around Volcarona. I kind of think I should have because the rock weakness really did show. And my only spinner was Tentacruel. And I actually had default on Rotom Frost. And Rotom Frost actually, by the way, had a really good season that time too. Even though I only brought it like 3 games or 4, it definitely put in work for the games it did come. And I did really enjoy using it. But Volcarona, it kind of underperformed, but I feel like it's kind of on me. Ash Greninja, that's an Ash Greninja, by the way. Still overrated. It did okay in the season, but I didn't really expect too much out of it, and it didn't really give me much. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Mega Dynasty did really good. I would definitely draft Mega Dynasty again if there wasn't so many Megas, but I'm really happy with Mega Dynasty, how it did. I was expecting it to do good, and it did. But that is kind of basically the team. The team was kind of consistent, I thought. It was why I liked it so much, and the fact that it's the PEBA. Even though it didn't really show as I like one loss a lot, I feel like it was more because the tiers were kind of a little bit whacked this season because we were trying new things out. Like we had some Arceus forms in there. We had a few busted mons in the league, and that's why I felt like some of the mons couldn't be as consistent as I thought they would be. But that's going to wrap it up for the PEBA Season 3, and we're going to move on to number 4. And our number 4 team on this list is going to be my IBA Season 4 team. This was my first ever Wi-Fi league, so this was definitely a new experience for me going in, as I still can't record or gen my own mods. I mean, breed on my bed. But this team, if I rank this as my top 10 best teams as opposed to my top 10 like favorite to use, this would be number 2, maybe even number 1. This team, probably even number 1 to be honest. This team is really friggin' good. This team had so many good things about it. We had Megalopony and Latias to start off with. That offensive core right there, what stops that, to be honest? That's just an insane offensive core in my opinion. I think it's really cool. Chandelure is really good as a Z user, and Fire and Ghost Stab, like switching into Chandelure with the Z move is really hard. You could see it. Raikou is also there. Raikou had a really good speed tier for this team, as well as being able to volt switch around. And Raikou's pretty bulky as well. Even though I didn't really use bulky Raikou too much, I did use it at some points, which made it really good. Sharpedo only came to like two games, but my god, did Sharpedo put in work when it came. And finally, that's my offense. Look at my defense. My defense had Skarmory, Toxapex, and Hippowdon. Yes, Hippowdon's on another team. Yes, Skarmory and Toxapex is weak to electric, and while like any electric type with like Grass Knot could be a little bit scary to my defense, it was, besides that, like breaking down my defense is insanely hard. Toxapex is a good regenerator mon, as I can just switch out. Skarmory has a lot of options to heal up. I have like Stealth Rock spikes with either Hippo, Skarm. I have a lot of options on my defense. The only negative I can think about with this team is the pivoting, as I didn't pick up Silvally until a little bit later in the season, and Silvally as a pivot is really good, I think. I don't think many people agree with me on that one, but Silvally I think is a really good pivot, but on this team it's like the only pivot. So, and Toxapex could be too, but Toxapex is a little bit passive, as well as Skarmory could be a little bit passive, and that was another problem with this. But the offense was really good. Oh, and Serena was there too. Serena didn't really do as much as I wanted it to, but Serena was kind of like the weak link on the team, as well as Comfey, but I drafted Comfey wrong. Like, I was using it in the wrong way, but that's on me. But that is the team. This team was just really good. It was fun to use. That's why it's up so high, but there are 3 more teams that I enjoyed using just a little bit more. Alright, we are rolling into the end of the video here starting soon. We have our number 3 slot, which is going to be the Ocean League Division 2 Season 2 team. This was the first team I ever made it to finals with. I faced Austrian George, and I did lose that game, but it was a really good game, and I almost could have won that game. I had to break through a certain mon, as I'll get into a little bit later. This is the league I met Jet in, so shout out to Jet Swarley. I know you're watching this, at least I hope you are. This team had a lot of mons I used for the first time and really enjoyed. Just to name a few: Megazard Y, which I'll get to, Zeraora, Superior, Tyrantrum, Haunter. I brought Haunter for the first time. It was just, and Alolan Persian, Slowbro. It was a really, really good team. Slowbro to start off with. Let's start off with Slowbro. Slowbro was a really good defensive pivot for the team. Water types are really cool already. A lot of teams have bulky waters, but bulky waters with their generator, oh boy, are really good. And it's not even that passive either. That's why I liked Slowbro a lot. Alolan Persian on paper isn't really that great, but in the battle it always did something. And even though I didn't bring a Z parting shot really any time this season, I still feel like Alolan Persian put in the work this season. Donphan and Flora just always performed well. I had Haunter as a low tier mon, and Haunter, I highly recommend. I said Palisade and Pyro earlier, but I also recommend Haunter as a low tier mon because they could definitely put in some work. Like I ran like sub pain split a few times, and it caught a lot of people off guard who I used it against. I even brought Probopass once too. Probopass was really interesting. I liked it. The only mon that kind of underperformed was Tyrantrum. I wasn't really big on the way I used Tyrantrum. It hits like a truck, but I feel like my opponents always had kind of something for it. So maybe I used it wrong a bit, but whatever. And getting to my top tier mons, Zeraora, even though Zeraora went 4 and 5, I felt like it did a lot more than that. I felt like each game it always did something. It didn't just come and do nothing. Even though it didn't always show in the kill count range, it still, I think, did something. Superior went like 11 and 4. Superior was pretty cool. It either had a really good matchup and a really bad matchup, but when it did have a good matchup, boy, was it good, because Superior it can just run through teams in a freaking snap, and that's kind of how it is. And Subseed is really annoying for some teams as well. And I want to get to the final thing, and this thing I want to talk about. Mega Charizard Y. Oh boy, this mod, I think, in my opinion, is the hardest mod to switch into in the entire draft format. This is harder to switch into than Kyurem Black, harder to switch into than Tapu Koko. You don't switch into Mega Charizard Y. Granted, I know Charizard Y has that glaring weakness to rocks, and that's what hinders it under those mods, and you can only use it so many times in a battle without it being hindered, and its speed tier is like 100, so it's kind of okay, and you can't scarf it because of the Charizard Y, but switching into it, it just doesn't exist. Flamethrower, Solar Beam, Dragon Pulse, there's no switching. That's just, and it is showed throughout the season. Go through some of my Ocean League battles. They're in a playlist on my channel, and just Mega Charizard Y just claims to kill every game, essentially. So that is just want to throw that out there. I love Mega Charizard Y. But that is number 3. That is my Ocean League team. One last note, I almost forgot about my Ocean League team. I forgot to mention that team gets absolutely destroyed by Latios and Latias. I want to mention that because in my finals game, my opponent had a Mega Latias, and it just ran through my team. And that was one of the bigger flaws of my team too. I forgot to mention that. So that's it for the Ocean League. Moving on to number 2, I feel like this one will be a little bit of a shocker. Number 2 on this list is going to be my CKBL Season 2 team. This league was run by Fidaki, so shout out to him. This was my first ever full draft season that I actually didn't upload to YouTube. And it's still not on YouTube to this day, so you can't go back on my channel and watch those videos. I do have some replays somewhere though, so if you search up my name and scroll down really far, you can find some replays. This was a little less stressful to upload, so I decided just to do it for fun, and I don't really regret that, even though I don't really do that anymore. But I want to talk about one thing before I get into this team. I got 2nd overall of 12 people, and I'm looking down the list, and I want Mega Mawile. Mega Mawile went 1st overall, so I got sniped out of Mega Mawile in this draft. That actually really pissed me off because I didn't know what else to do in this draft, so I picked up Mew just because it's a Mew. And I really didn't enjoy using Mew too much, I'm going to be honest. I know Mew has a lot of good potential and can be used by the best trainers, but I feel like I just didn't use it right. I always locked it into a defensive role, and it didn't really need to be locked into a defensive role. So I just felt like I used it wrong. But that's negative. I want to talk about some positives on this team. We have Mega Absol and Darmanitan. Use Darmanitan to break, Mega Absol to clean. It works like a charm. It's just so good. I feel like Mega Absol as a cleaner is a little bit better than a breaker, only because of how frail it is. I know Darm's pretty frail too, but at least Darm you could just flare blitz things and nothing really wants to switch into it. And Mega Absol late game, you can clean, and if you need the health, you have a health to at least take 1 hit at the end. And Mega Absol has a lot of different things it can do. I actually brought Parashong Absol one time, and it worked, believe it or not. It actually was really cool to bring that. Mixed sets and Absol is really cool because its coverage is really insane. I also had more things than just those 3 mods. We had Noivern on the team. Noivern's really good for some speed control. Love Noivern. Northside Noivern's obviously. Milotic and Amoonguss as a defensive core. They were really good mods together. A little bit passive, but Amoonguss with the regenerator sort of patches that up. Fortress as a defensive pivot was really good. Some hazard control. Fortress is a good mod overall in general, at least it's for its tier at least. Beware can be run defensively or offensively. I actually really enjoyed using that thing a lot. And here's a mod that I actually been growing on me recently since I've done that, is Xurkitree. Xurkitree and Darmanitan, special breaker, that's electric type, and a physical breaker, that's a fire type. Switching into this combination is so hard. The fact that I really didn't realize it at the time, but like looking back at it, I'm just like, oh my god, this team is hard to switch into at times if it's not my defense. My offense is just break. That's why I like this team so much. I also had some nice little lower tier mods, like Carbon's cool. Sandslash I actually brought to it, like the playoff game I brought it to. It was really nice. And this team just really worked like a charm. I really enjoyed it a lot. It was really nice change of pace because I wasn't uploading. I didn't really always have to stress out about looking back at a battle. But yeah, this is CKBL. Shoutouts to Fidaki for this. But we are going to move on to my favorite team ever in draft in Gen 7. Okay, so before I reveal my number 1 slot, even though I'm pretty sure most of you guys already know it if you use process of elimination, I'm not including my URL team from Gen 6 because this is a Gen 7 type of video, and that's why I'm not doing that. So going on to my favorite draft team I've ever used in Gen 7, it's gotta be my APM Season 2 team. It's pretty it's not that close to be honest. It's just my favorite team I've used. Jen invited me to this league right after the Ocean League, and I was actually debating saying no because I would join the PEBA Season 3, and you guys know PEBA is like my home in draft, and I really want to focus on IRL stuff while doing at least 1 draft league, so PEBA was sort of the dedicated pick there, but I thought, hey, I could do like the CKBL and just not upload it and have it for fun, so that's why I decided to do it. Jed's a really nice guy anyway, but this team is just busted. It's like the good definition of a balanced team. Let's name off some stuff. Excadrill, Mega Gallade, my favorite Pokemon. Manaphy, Hydreigon, Celebi, and I had Hippowdon. Except for Hippowdon, those 5 Mons can do a bunch of different things. You have a Sand team. My opponent has to worry about so much. It's a Sand core, so you already have to worry about Sand. Manaphy, the Tail Glove, then it just hits hard. Mega Glade's always a threat. Salazzle with a Z move is very scary. Manaphy also has Z move, very scary. Hydreigon could be defensive and very annoying. It could be offensive. Articuno is very underrated in my opinion. If you don't have Rocks up, it could be a very good pressure stall Mon. Electros is very annoying. This team is just, and oh, speaking of annoying, I have Klefki on this team, which is, I don't like using it because it's pretty scummy, but it's still a good Mon to use. And this team was just good in every single way I could think of. I can't really think of too many negatives with this team. My defense wasn't really set up bait. My offense did really good. I had immediate breaking power with like Drill and Gallade, and I had some good sets with like Manaphy and Salazzle, and those were really good. And speaking of Salazzle, I'm gonna talk about playoffs. I lost to Love in the finals in a really good game. Love played really well, and he just beat me in the end. But Salazzle came to 3 games, and I believe Salazzle got 11 kills in the playoffs. And in one game, I don't think he got a kill. Yeah, Salazzle got all 6 kills in my semifinals game, and I got, I think, 4 kills in my quarterfinals game. I did get a kill in the finals, I think. This is just rough, but Salazzle is the absolute GOAT MVP of that playoffs. I've never performed with the Mon so well in a short period of time. So big shout outs to Salazzle there. And this just consists of a bunch of Mons I love to use. I love using Hippowdon. Mega Gallade's the GOAT. I love Excadrill. Hydreigon I've always liked, and it really didn't grow me at first, but throughout the season I started to like it more and more. And so that was really cool Mon. And I also picked up Golbat near the end of the season, which also performed really well in the playoffs as well. So big shouts to Golbat. I didn't upload this to YouTube originally. I did stream it through Twitch. So I do have some stuff on YouTube of it. I did have a butchered stream, so not everything's up. But I did try to upload some of it. So you guys can go check that out in the playlist below. But big shout outs to Jed for letting me in this league. And I'm really happy I accepted it because this was one of the best seasons I've ever had. And again, this is probably the most busted team I had, if not IBA Season 4. But I had a lot more fun with this team than that one. So one more time, big shout outs to Jed. And my favorite team ever is my APM Season 2 team. So that is going to be it basically for this top 10 video. I hope you guys enjoyed this different pace of video, even though I still talk really fast. It's going to be a little bit of a longer video because these videos mean a lot to me because it's my own draft career and I really enjoy draft a lot. So I like to put stuff on YouTube just to reflect back on it a little bit later. So thank you guys for watching this video so much. If you have stuck through this entire video, it means a lot to me, it really does. But next week for my next top 10 video, if I get it up on time, which you never know with me, we have my top 10 favorite Pokemon I've used in draft. I'm pretty sure you guys already know like my top 10. It's just what order it goes in. But you guys will learn that next week and for that video. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Big shout outs to like the league owners for all the leagues, like Jed in charge of the APM. Thank you. Elliot and 2-Bit for the PEBA, especially like, oh, and Nico for inviting me in the first place. Matt O'Shea for the Ocean League. Fidaki for CKBL, Odds for IBA. I could keep going on, but you get the gist. Thank you guys so much for the opportunities I've had for those leagues. But without further ado, I'm going to end off this video. Thank you guys for watching so much. This face cam is really weird. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you like Pokemon Draft League content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to head out of here. Have a fantastic day, YouTube.